You know, analysts and feminists and cynics and the board have spent untold server space and synapses talking about negative aspects of the Disney animated canon. It seems we devote vast amounts of criticism to a bunch of movies that encourage little girls to pick princesses for role models. But I, however, am going to take a different route, focus on what Disney did right, and dissect some purposefully regressive characters in their litany. And then we get to talk about how terrifying it is when some little boys unknowingly make them their role models. That's right, fan kids. You better buckle up, Buttercup. I'm TBelle, your Philosofan, and we're talking about misogyny. Characters purposefully and noticeably backward don't always get an ample amount of screen time. Usually they're minor comical bit parts intended to make the hero more triumphant when said characters are proven wrong. The regressive characters who do make their way into the main cast tend to be much larger threats and resonate more with our real-life experiences. But maybe I'm not giving the poor, misunderstood, cel-shaded man enough sympathy. If only there was some easily accessible way for them to tell their side of the story. What is this thing doing to my brain? Oh, fun.
Greetings, ladies. My name is Ichabod Crane, though you may call me Icky if you so desire. And if you are in the market for a perfect gentleman like myself and have an affinity for baking, then I might just be the man for you, especially if you're one of those maidens who longs for the days of chivalry and courtly love. I could be your knight in shining armor. And not only will I carry our love through the ages, but I will put you on a pedestal and worship you like the goddess that you are. And you know what? I don't even mind if you want to take things slow. I will be there by your side the entire time. I have no problem waiting for you to realize what a catch I really am. I mean, I'm a good listener. I'm perfectly well-mannered. And I could never take advantage of such a lovely creature as yourself. But I'm not looking. I've got plenty of friends. I'm not looking to be friend-zoned again. I'm not looking for someone who only falls for assholes. I'm looking for someone who can see this diamond in the rough. I'm looking for someone who can like a classic gentleman like myself.
Much better. Oh, Ichabod, how shall I describe thee? You've been so diverse lately. Whether he's unfairly attractive Rip Van Super Spy in the TV series, or the flighty, fainting skeptic in Tim Burton's film, or even the bumbling innocent of a stage version I once saw, popular opinion usually seems to couch Master Crane as the good guy. Not just the good guy, but the quintessential nerd protagonist. He's a lanky schoolteacher pining after the prettiest girl in town, and his rival is the ogreish jock who keeps playing pranks on him. Heck, to half expect Brom Bones to give Ichabod an atomic wedgie. But Mr. Washington Irving, how prophetic you didn't know you were. In the original story, as well as the 1949 Walt Disney short, Ichabod Crane was not presented as the infallible hero. In fact, Irving fashioned Brom as the all-American James Fenimore Cooper-esque leading man, and his contemporaries would have recognized him as such. And as for Ichabod, I ain't saying he a gold digger, but he ain't messing with no broke maidens. In fact, this may be the most faithful adaptation Disney has ever done. You through clutching your pearls? Good, moving on. Looking back at the legend of Sleepy Hollow as an adult, Ichabod becomes much less sympathetic, and Brom doesn't seem quite as bad as certain jocks we'll discuss in a bit. I'm not saying Ichabod deserves to be run down by a spectral rider with a gourd for a noggin, but he certainly didn't look lily white in the story. I mean, Katrina certainly enjoys the attention of men more than she wants to choose one of them, but there is nothing wrong with a woman enjoying being social while not being ready to settle down. Brahm may be loud, reckless, and prank-happy, but he's also incredibly generous and kind towards the small, insignificant things. He even knows Katrina's game completely and still chooses to pursue her. That's understanding your love interest as a person. He may not think often before he acts, but Brahm does think about others just as often as himself. Ichabod Crane, however, thinks about others all the time, at least in how they can benefit him. Let's run down the list of the man's machinations, shall we? He struts into Sleepy Hollow and immediately ingratiates himself as the most intellectual and sophisticated person in town, thus making sure everyone looks up to him and values his opinion. Look at him stealing a pie by being polite. He gives false encouragement to women with the tonal skill of Canadian geese in his voice lessons for the express purpose of eating their lunches. He shows blatant favoritism to his students on account of who has the most prosperous mothers to invite him to dinner. And this was in those pre-Manifest Destiny days when corporal punishment was a bit more prevalent than smallpox, and I haven't even started to talk about how he approaches Katrina. I'm not saying he's not allowed to be attracted to her. That would make me a hypocrite with all the dudes I've aesthetically swooned over before my wedding. But Ichabod never seems to move past Katrina's looks. He has this whole internal impression of her built up that he doesn't fully connect with the actual Katrina. The only things he does appreciate about the real Katrina are her looks and her daddy's money. Ichabod's attitude can be prevalently seen today, particularly among nice guys. Please notice the air quotes. Because these guys are anything but. They just kind of play up the act to get into a lady's pantry. It's like this. Ichabod was clearly acting with the utmost chivalry towards Katrina, but not because respecting a lady is the bloody right thing to do. His line of thinking was that if he earns enough chivalry points, surely it adds up to Katrina having to marry him. Never mind that it's essentially dishonest. She might have a choice in the matter, or that placing her on a pedestal glosses over any incompatibilities they might otherwise have. Girl plus chivalry equal wife. In the same way, there's a veritable fleet of boys behaving that way towards their female friends. Without the honesty of simply explaining their intentions, they orbit around a lady in this friend zone, hoping that they can someday turn in their collected friend tokens for a more romantic relationship. And sadly, what many a nice guy considers to be above and beyond friend behavior is essentially being a decent, ruddy human being. I don't see this logic holding in other circumstances.
Guess what? I didn't meet anybody this week. You must now give me your admiration forever and a Fabergé egg. Dude, I'm staring at some guy's kidney. Okay, I was just joking about the egg.
They have this grand courtly romance built up in their heads and don't notice all their friendliness is embarrassingly extravagant displays of awkward affection that their lady fair must tolerate. Then when the object of their attentions reach the end of their forbearance, many nice guys get spiteful and insulting, as if friendship is a poor consolation prize for being denied entry into womanland. They then see themselves as victims to problems that rose up primarily from their contributions. It's frankly a good thing our Cabeza Challenge friend helped Ichabod get the heck out of Dodge before things came to a head. For the record, my interpretation of the ending is that the horseman was a real ghost, but Ichabod lived to creep another day. And so will all the nice guys in Fedora Land. A woman not seeing you as boyfriend material is not a death sentence. And platonic love is not the overripe second banana to a romantic relationship. Now, let us turn our focus to more aggressive matters. Holy friggin'!
This thing on? Ugh, good. Hello, you beautiful ladies. And this is the day your dreams come true. Because I have finally allowed myself to pick one of you as my little trophy wife. So do me a favor and put your headshots right here. We'll get things underway. But let's just weed out some of the uglier chicks first. I am very particular about who I date. Nothing but butterfaces all my life, if you know what I mean. But for the rest of you, I know it's impossible for you to say no, because I know you know that no one says no to Gaston. It's just one of nature's truest facts. I am perfect, therefore my sweet arm candy must be the best. Because I deserve the best. That was good. We'll use that take. All right. Now the brew. LeFou. Turn this off, too.
I'm gonna level with y'all. At the tender age of 5, there was a small group of cartoon characters I wanted to deck. Alvin the Chipmunk, for his own good, Angelica, and Gaston. Him I still do. What? I'm scrappy. Much like the reputation of the Beast is less flattering, Gaston's reputation outside the film is more generous. He's remembered as a funny, if cocky oaf that slowly turns into a monster. But watching this film as a grown woman for research, I realized I've met a couple Gastons, and they're terrifying. Gaston's personality is mostly made of sociopathic narcissism that colors every interaction with others. He is the only human in a sea of almost people in his eyes, yes. But there is ample evidence he thinks even less of women in particular.
I'd like to thank you all for coming to my wedding. First, I better go in there and propose to the girl. It's not right for a woman to read. Soon she starts getting ideas and thinking.
It's not even that he has an interest in Belle's personality or pursuits. Belle is another trophy for his collection, a prize with kitchen duty. He is the best like no one ever was, and he deserves the best because of that reason. There's a word for that attitude right now, the one making your skin crawl. It's called entitlement. Gaston feels entitled to his pick of little wife, whether she'd like that or not. No is so far from his radar, Gaston is absolutely shocked when Belle rejects him. And can you blame him? The entire town agrees with him. I'm not absolving Gaston of any of his actions. That man fed his inner beast until it consumed him. But the culture around him did actively encourage the attitude that sent him over the edge. Think back to the Steubenville scandal, or to the Duke lacrosse team. When someone becomes lauded for one well-practiced skill, people tend to ignore that someone's imperfections, sometimes even escalating to cover up their dangerous actions. Gaston is lauded for being the epitome of manhood in his village. He is handsome, successful, and charismatic. Everyone was so invested in their popular hunter, they didn't catch the solipsistic predator lurking in the wings. It was just easier to believe kooky newcomer Belle was crazy for spurning Gaston's advances and not feeling threatened, and so it became easier for Gaston to sucker the town into hunting down a beast they didn't understand, all because of his fragile man pride. See, when a guy like Gaston gets told no, moving onwards and upwards isn't an option. Demanding escalates to manipulating, via having your dad committed, which escalates to violence, via said angry mob. You want to know the saddest part of it? Gaston still wants to take Belle as his wife. Not even because he wants her. He just wants to punish her. Put her in her place. In the end, Gaston's character paints a portrait of a man so insecure in his position in life, he has to force others into a version where he's the hero. But you know what they say, stupidity loves company. Come on, I know you got one more in you. You've been a pain in my posterior since I started this, and now you're just about to unleash the third wave. We both know what's coming, so go ahead and do it. Hit me, you pretentious haberdashery! Hit me! Help!
Hey girl. I've been hoping you'd notice me. You see, I know what you're going through. How lonely and unappreciated you must feel. How you need to feel affection. I understand you. Maybe better than you understand yourself. You see, I've been there. I'm lonely, and I need someone who will bring me out of the darkness and redeem me. I need you. I'll be there for you when everyone else turns away. And don't worry about what your friends or family have to say. You don't need that negativity. You don't need them. We just need to focus on us. So come with me. Don't leave me alone.
There's a degree of delusion in all of these characters that contributes in some way to their personality. Ichabods delude themselves into thinking they're the victims. nominally correct. Gastons can hide under the delusions of the culture around them, cushioned from their own conscience. But the Hanses of the world, ooh, talk about a snake in the garden. I don't think there was a soul not at least somewhat taken in by Hans' earnest little vulnerability routine. He just seemed so perfect. I half expected him to be played by James Marsden. However, Hans was such a perfect guy, he became like porcelain. A beautiful ideal, but heartless and cold. Anna was naive and starved for attention after the loss of her parents and isolation from her sister, from the whole world almost. And Hans picked up on that. It's not Anna's fault, but Hans picks up on what she needs and exploits it like a crocodile exploits an old wildebeest bum leg. Hans grooms her to trust him, to confide in him. Look at their song.
But with you, I found my place. I see your face.
I mean, it's crazy.
What?
We finish each other's
Sandwiches.
That's what I was gonna say.
Love is an open door.
Darn that song sounding like the Zoe Deschanel version of My First Real Date. The way the duet is arranged, Hans is leading her on and letting her fill in the blanks as to how they relate to each other. While still acting the fair and noble prince to those around him, he emotionally pulls Anna towards himself. It's a you and me against the world, baby, where there desperately needs to be some more communication. It's a subtle form of gaslighting where he nudges her towards needing him above anyone else, trusting him above everyone else. Then, when she needs him most, he just...
Oh, Anna. If only there was someone out there who loved you.
You're as cold as ice. You're willing to sacrifice our love.
The director has been on record saying Hans is a sociopath, and I venture that's not a far generalization from the mark. He's obsessed with finding the power and prestige he feels he's owed. As soon as Anna is no longer useful to him, he leaves her to die. Everything exists to give him his self-proclaimed rights, and people are just props with a pulse. So he found the most malleable, vulnerable prop, and exploited her. It's a darn good thing I didn't meet a guy like this in high school. Dead serious, I could have easily been in Anna's position. What, you don't think this mama lion was born with her claws and teeth? Like many teenage girls put through the ringer of social ostracization and media saturation, I was powerfully insecure. I didn't feel worthy of anyone or anything. My family and God had to love me. They didn't count. It's not that unusual. Most girls can't really get a foothold on their own self-esteem for a long time. I was just one of them. And that made for easy pickings. It was a matter of sheer luck that I slipped into maturity unnoticed by the world's vultures. Some of my friends had to deal with them, though. Some boys wanted to control something, watch it wilt before them, have someone utterly dependent on them. Many still do. So they went for the weakened, kind-hearted, naive girls like my friends and I. These guys, they'll target and tear down other girls just because they can. Because they're the only heroes, and everyone else should bow down. And the part of me that survived my insecurities and grew into something stronger and harder and fiercer is angry. Angry that any girl would have to go through that form of betrayal. The mama lion in me wakes up and growls at the thought of those who would think they have the right to do that to another human being. No one deserves to be told if only there was someone who loved you, particularly by someone they trusted. And no one should have to be forced into a relationship mold unwillingly either. You can't just harm another person like that. That's why I'm so protective of women in those situations. That's why I'm so harsh towards the men here. We need to start calling out this behavior and recognizing the warning signs. But luckily enough, Disney helped give us some of those red flags. None of these movies are perfect. Socially or otherwise, no art can be. But it's still important we need to learn from them, the villains as well as the heroes, because we emulate both. And we see both in others, and it is important for us to be as good as we possibly can be to others, and fight the systems that produce villains to the best of our ability. Although, if anyone willingly gets all Hansy with someone I care about, Mama Lang gonna roar.
Gonna roar? Now, why would a little kitten like you want to roar? A meow seems much more appropriate anyway. You're cute, but you'd look cuter in the kitchen making me a sandwich. It's adorable that you're trying to make a point, but do you really think you have the chops for this kind of thing? Wouldn't you be better off sticking to fan fiction? Not all men are like that. Some of us are really trying, not that you'd ever notice. You don't really think all those horrible things about everyone. You're just hurt. And that's okay, I understand. I just don't think you're going to have much of an impact. You're just projecting some high school heartbreak onto the rest of the world. It's all that Taylor Swift music. It's filling your head with nonsense. Did you actually watch the movie, or did you just read some summary off of Jezebel, written by some fat, angry cow who's upset they'll never look like Ariel? Why do you hate Disney so much anyway? They're entertainment. It's fantasy. It's not meant to be taken seriously or realistic. Look at the men. They're just as misrepresented. Worse, even. And just think of the backlash, all those other guys challenging you and insulting you. Do you really want to expose yourself to that kind of abuse? Wouldn't it be better to just let things be? Ugh, cry it out on Tumblr already to your fans. That's where this stuff belongs anyway. Here you're just taking up space, looking for attention because this is where all the men are.
See, this is the problem with giving a woman her own show. She starts getting ideas and thinking, and soon all men are little pigs. Sugar, you should just go back to making your pretty drawings, or else your man is gonna have to come straighten you out. The sooner the better. And, man, look at the size of that rack. I could think of a couple different directions this video could go. Knockers or GTFO, kitten, what are you doing?
So that you know how serious I am, I'm going to say this very slowly and very clearly. As your Philosofan and Mama Lion, I encourage you from time to time, and always in a respectful manner, to question my logic. If you're unconvinced a particular thesis I brought forward isn't the wisest, tell me so. But allow me to convince you, and I promise you right here and now, no subject will ever be taboo. Except, of course, the subject that was just under discussion. The price you pay for bringing up either my gender or anatomy as an objectifying negative is, I collect your flapping head. Just like this buttface here. Now, if any of you mousy wankers got anything left to say, now's the bloody time! I didn't think so. If you enjoyed, thanks for watching. If you didn't, I look forward to your flames.
Haha! Revenge is an open door!
Roar.
Oh, look at that! I think I have a sandwich to finish somewhere.
Tony's doing that, so I don't need to do that.
Hello, my darling. Mwah. Oh yeah, all that ink and paint to clean up. You know what? Let's just call a steamer. So what do you want for dinner?
Did the neighbors hear?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Destroy the evidence.
Thank you, darling.
No problem.
I'm so fancy.